All right, I'd like to call the town council meeting to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Marker will now read the names of any officers that have been killed since our last meeting.
Corrections Officer Bradford D. McNew of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Florida. End of watch Saturday, October 12th. Cause of death, gunfire.
Thank you. Could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Jim Marker,
Present.
Councilmember Larry Balla, Council President Rick Rifa,
Present.
Councilmember Melissa Robbins.
Present.
Councilmember Tony Hudson.
Present.
All right, each member has received a copy of the October 15th minutes. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Could we have the claims, please?
Claims totaling $1,104,056.12.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carried. Announcements?
There will be an executive session for the Town Council and the Safety Board on Tuesday, November 12th at 6:30. The next Town Council meeting will be on Tuesday, November 19th at 7 o'clock. There will be a study session at 6:30 and one will follow if necessary. There will be a Water Board meeting on Tuesday, November 19th, following the Town Council meeting.
Thank you. Please note that there will not be a meeting on November 5th. That is election night. Communications, we have a request from NIPSCO. Does anybody have?
I believe you have it.
I gave it to Rick.
Let me see where it is. Okay, there we go. We've got a request from NIPSCO to utilize part of our property for a laydown for a construction project they have coming up. That is located on Colfax and Klein, and they're looking at sometime this spring, and once they're done, they would pick everything up. Just a place for them to lay down their equipment as they're doing some construction, so.
I make that motion, authorizing such.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. We don't have a report from Public Works or Building Commissioner. Police, any reports?
Nothing from the police.
Okay. Fire? And there's no finance report. This time we'll take public comment on any agenda items. If anybody has a comment or a question on something on the agenda, now would be the time to ask that. All right, we'll go straight to old business. Mr. Hobson?
Yeah, I have the 2025 budget adoption. This is, from our last meeting, this is the final budget we're going to enter in. I would like to make a motion to adopt the 2025 budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Roll call.
We have a roll call, please.
Jim Marker,
In favor.
Rick Rifa,
In favor?
Melissa Robbins,
In favor.
Tony Hudson.
In favor.
The 2025 budget is adopted. Next item is Midwest Auto Business License. Mr. Estrada?
President Rifa, could we push that to the end of the agenda?
Sure.
For opposing counsel to discuss one thing?
Okay. All right. To make a motion to put this to the end of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Next item is a request for appeal regarding a building permit. We have a request from somebody regarding a property on North J Street. If you'd like to explain what's going on, we'll informally hear this today, and we could set a hearing if we can't come to some type of agreement.
Basically, I don't believe that our inspector has a basis for which code he's citing regarding our block wall. He has it set up for seismic design category B, where Lake County is seismic design category A. Now, I know that's mostly mumbo jumbo to most people, but it essentially, between A and B and C and D, basically determines when a earthquake will happen. is it severe and is it severe enough to cause damage? Now, he's having us build for seismic design category D, which is what you find in like Tennessee or California, or I believe in Hawaii has seismic design category D. But we're building it towards seismic design category A, which is perfectly acceptable towards building code. But he's not taking our bill for what it's worth.
Okay. Would the inspector have anything to add to that?
Not necessarily. Formally, we've been back and forth a few times. There's also some other additional issues with how it's been built. As far as there's no rebar in the wall at all.
Doesn't have to be. It only has to be vertical rebar every 72 inches of no larger than 8 inches.
But there is no vertical rebar either that I've
There
seen,
is
that I've been able to inspect.
But there was vertical rebar installed per your instructions at 48 inches.
But I was not able to inspect it because it was covered up. Before it was.
But, I mean, that was one of 4, and I've only received a reason for a failure of inspection for one reason. I mean, he went on to state that the walls weren't tuck pointed well enough, or, see, I can get the other, what are the reasons that he's quoted? Let's see, no rebar connecting footing to foundation, steel beam not adequately supported by column, block foundation grout needs to be addressed to not have voids, block foundation to have necessary vertical and horizontal reinforcement foundations, insulation to go inside the wall. He then went on in the email chain that we've had back and forth to state that we need to have doweling to secure the block foundation wall to the existing wall, and that's not required per Indiana residential code unless it's a seismic design category C or D, and we don't have that here.
All right, how big is this project? What exactly does it entail?
20 by 30. It's an addition.
So it's gonna be, it'll be a living quarters?
2 bedrooms.
Okay. Do you have any engineering drawings that state that this is by the code or it's stamped by an engineer?
Well, no, we have the drawings that were produced by, it was produced by the contractor that's installing the actual, not the foundation, but the framing of the building.
Okay.
And it doesn't state that that's by building code, but then again, also Indiana residential code doesn't state you need a registered engineer or architect to state these things.
Okay.
Who built this foundation?
We did.
We did. Who's we?
The homeowner and me, his workers.
So the homeowner's workers, so you took on the role of contractor, more or less, being the homeowner building it yourself, correct?
Me, no, yeah, him, yes.
Oh, okay, so you're,
I'm helping. I've been working
yeah,
with
yeah,
these for forever.
okay, and whoever is taking that on, it looks like there's more than just whether or not the connection is proper. It looks like there's a lot of inspections that weren't called in before they were covered up. Is that correct?
Is there inspections that were called in before they
Oh, yeah. He saw the foundation for the.
Well, but in this email, sir, there's a list of things that were never inspected that were covered up. There's like 6 things. The beam column was never inspected. This will need to be redone to confirm pier is below frost. The beam to the house connection was never inspected. Please remove the beam to verify existing. I mean, it's a list of things that if you're going to build an addition on your own, you're taking on the responsibility of a contractor, that any contractor that does this would know you have to have it called in.
From my understanding, he was there to inspect the initial hole that we dug for the vertical column that was there. And then, on top of it, I mean, how far are you expecting us to go when inspecting the existing foundation to be able to support the beam? Like, do we have to get a structural test or a static load test on an existing foundation? Like, where does?
I think you need to follow what the code says. I don't know if we have that code cited right now. Like I said, we're just gathering some information tonight. I think maybe the best thing is if your contractor had a professional engineer that's willing to put his stamp on this design and said that it meets all the codes.
It's also not required.
I think that could be a big way to resolve part of that. Or we've got to fix the code violations through the inspections. I guess what I'm more concerned about is if there was a lot of work done, then no inspections were done when they should have been.
Inspections were done.
I mean, I can talk about the inspection.
Did have a couple
Okay,
other
hold on.
failed
I think that's what I'd like to hear,
inspections
too.
that were-
So I was called out for the footing inspection initially. That was the first inspection. It failed. I don't exactly remember why. Came back out for the reinspection. It passed. Footing passed. Then I was called out for, and maybe Brian can confirm this, a pre-backfill inspection. So I get out there, the foundation wall is completed. I don't know if there's any rebar in it connecting anything. The insulation was on the outside of the wall. So I failed it. I said, this isn't ready for a pre-backfill because the foundation has never been inspected. And that's kind of where this has stopped. The center column post was never inspected. When I was there for the foundation and the footing, it was not dug for me to tell. And on the house, I've never been able to see how that connection was made to the existing house. That's the extent of the inspections.
Okay. And this could go, I mean, either way, I don't know, other than opening it back up to see if the rebar was put in there, all the other stuff was done properly. I don't know how we could have confirmation that it was built according to the code.
Well, you want to see evidence of vertical rebar, because that's the only thing that's required per code, is vertical rebar of not less than 8 inches, or not more than, or not less than 8 inches every 72
Okay.
inches, and we've installed it every 48 inches. Some of his emails that he went through, he stated that it needs horizontal restraints of rebar, pretty much on the top 12 and the bottom 12 of the footing. That's not required. My main concern is not necessarily if we have to go inspect or show them that we did have installed rebar. My main concern is that he's having us build it to a more stringent design criteria that's not required. I also have a state interpretation here by the Department of Homeland Security of Indiana that recognizes that 3 counties are in fact seismic class D, and 1 county is in fact not seismic class C, but seismic class B. There wouldn't be an interpretation put forth like it if it didn't matter. I work in the fire protection industry, so I work in Indiana and all around the country. I have to read this code every single day. I mean, I'm not a foundation specialist, but I do read code every single day, and I have to understand it. I mean, every drawing I've sent does not require any seismic bracing. So more of my concern, rather than opening up for the lower portion where we did install the vertical rebar, is why is he having us build this to such a stringent design criteria when it's not required?
Okay, that we'll need to look at. Was any work ever performed without any permits?
No.
Okay. All contractors had business licenses?
Yeah. Paul. Yeah, Paul, he has a business license.
Okay, good, okay.
So I just want to confirm, you have no issue with the items that you've already done, being able to prove that those things are up to code for a re-inspect.
I mean, I
The
can
issue,
put a hole in the wall, yes.
the issue that you're having is the connection to the house you think is more strict than what you think it should be.
Well, I think his reasoning for failing on most of the items are out of base. It's just, again, no rebar connecting footing to foundation, okay, we did put rebar footing to foundation, however, he did not see that. All right, steel beam connected, not adequately supported at column. You saw
The foundation, down on the
the
bottom.
rebar connected to it?
Yeah, he
These
did.
are the footings.
Okay. So the steel bar not being adequately supported at columns, he never had any further explanation. It only states for that it needs, what, an inch and a half on steel, or steel or wood, and then 3 inches on concrete. We are well beyond these measurements. Block foundation, not to have necessarily vertical and horizontal reinforcements. Again, that goes back to the picture image that he provided, needing J-hook style reinforcement that goes from the bottom of the foundation all the way to the top of the block. So it's like, what site or what design categories are you trying to have us work to? What's going to make this guy happy? Because he's having us go over and above what is actually required.
I guess, you know, if when we have a formal hearing on this, we would need, like I said, ideally, it would be an engineer's stamp to say that this design is acceptable, or the work is acceptable. If that's not possible, certainly, I think we would need to see all the state code that you're citing to state that it's not needed, and then we could make a determination from that.
Yeah, and I have a whole dissertation on 2 sets of codes that state why I believe that he is incorrect as to his judgment. Let's see, I believe this would be the actual foundation block wall we need to have. We need to-
Yeah, I'm not an expert in this, so I'd
I'm
rather
not
wait.
gonna, you know, to read it
And I
now.
know you're not gonna get into it right now, but
I gotta
But
trust
there's
the
no-
people we hire.
Does it actually cite the code in there, the code numbers or any of that?
yeah, I have code numbers on there.
I'm a construction guy for underground, not up in the air.
So, I guess, if you'd like, did you wanna try to get an engineer to say this is a licensed engineer?
How do you mean engineer? You need an architecture stamp or?
Stamp, somebody that, a professional engineer or a stamp on it, somebody with a stamp.
What's the other option?
Present it to us in writing, cite each code that you believe that you're falling within,
Have an engineer present that?
ideally, or if you do it yourself, just you put each code number where we can, research it, compare it to our codes.
That is your code.
So then cite it, so then we'll have,
Yeah, and everything's cited in the documents I just handed over to you.
and we'll have one of our, engineers review that.
And I have another copy of it as well, but that should have been sent through the email chain, as my understanding. Here's the other back of documents I had for the remainder codes that cite the Dowling issue.
What the hearing?
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion, putting this to hearing until we get more information gathered up and we hear back from an engineering source or more data.
What other sources available other than an engineering
Well-
source, other than
Well,
myself?
if I could chime in,
Please.
I think sir, it's your burden to prove that your construction is done per code. That's done in a hearing. The town council has given you recommendation to get an engineer to go to your home and say this is done per code. They'll accept that, or you could do it on your own like you're doing today at a hearing where they're gonna hear that evidence, okay? But they're not here to give you legal advice on how to present it. So they made a motion to continue it to evidentiary hearing. It's not gonna turn into, teach me how to do this here tonight. You understand that? So, but it's your burden to prove that it's done right. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made that motion, I don't believe I have a second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, the motion carries. So I'd recommend if you are prepared and would like to give us any of that information so we can share it with any of our technical people prior to that, it might make the hearing go a lot easier, and then we'll do it.
Yeah, those 2 documents are my explanation of the code. I can give you a copy of the email.
Actually, you should give them back
Send
then.
back and forth.
Okay,
Anything else?
no, that's it.
Nope.
Would you be able to provide that electronically to,
By the way?
maybe an electronic copy of that to the building
Yeah, I can
department?
send it, who do I send it to?
The building department would be fine.
Building department, okay.
Are those for us to keep?
Yeah, you can keep.
Okay, great.
Print out a couple.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You asking when you'll be notified, is that what I heard?
No, he said we're done for the moment.
Be November 19th will be the next town council meeting.
November 19th.
So, yeah, touch base beforehand to make sure. It'd be great to resolve this before that,
Okay.
if that's possible.
Prove that it's been done correctly.
Then we'll see, we'll do what we can do, but we gotta, yeah, we'll have to follow the process, but, Mr. Marker, you have the next item?
I do have a funny facts for, on September 19, 2024, Octagon Corporation appeared by its representative, engineer Chris Moore, before the Board of Public Hearing on its petition for a variance, requesting a development variance from Chapter 86, Article 15, Section 86-21 of the Town Zoning Code, which requires that all, wow, hard to read this. It requires that all off-street parking be serviced with a specific depth of concrete or matter. Petitioner is requesting that the parking lot consist of crushed aggregate. Petitioner also requests a development variance under Chapter 14, Section 89, Section 4, which requires all driveway aprons extending beyond the sidewalk and into the street paveway shall consist of refined concrete or at least 6 inches, and at least 6 inches of thickness. Petitioner wants to keep the asphalt that is previously installed. Sorry for jumping around here, I should wear my glasses today. The response is a motion denying each variant request was made by Board Member Cuss, and both motions were seconded by the Board Members Nolasco. A vote was taken, and the motion to deny the variances passed on the 16th day of September 2024. I'll make a motion.
Mr. Marker, before the
Yep.
motion's made, is there anybody here that's associated with this, the finding of facts? I'd like to mention it, speak to us before we vote.
It's 640 South Wheeler.
Okay, great, all right.
I'd like to make a motion honoring the denial for the Board of Zoning Appeals for 640 South Wheeler Place concerning the apron.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carries. Okay, entertain a motion to continue resolution 24-11.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carries. Last item is, we have a commission appointment, Ms. Robbins.
Make a motion that President Rick Rifa appoints Tony Hobson to the Redevelopment Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, the motion carries. Is there any other business from the council?
We have the Midwest Auto issue.
Mr. Estrada, do you have any recommendations?
I would recommend that we continue it to the next public meeting. We're in conversation with the opposing party to discuss a few things, so if you wouldn't mind, please, I would ask for a continuance.
Okay.
Make a motion to continue that to the November 19th meeting?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carries. All right, any other business from the council? All right, this time we'll open the floor for public comment. If anybody has a comment or question, just please state your name.
Jordan Adams, I actually have a question.
Yes.
Pertaining to the building department. What's going on with this? Can I ask you guys, what code book are you using?
IRC 2020.
Okay. That's my question.
But I work at Indiana Building Code and Fire
Well,
all the time.
the reason for the question, more portion of the building department, what code book are you guys using? 2020? Okay.
The most recent version.
Okay.
All right, very good. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, the meeting is adjourned.